I'm setting up my estate, or potentially helping my parents set up their estate, and there are some items in there that are really hard to figure out what they're worth. How do I deal with that? I'm Sarah Siedentopf. I'm an estate planning attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're going to talk a little bit about hard-to-value assets. Hard-to-value assets are those that do not have an easily ascertainable market value, aka it is hard to figure out how much they are worth. When you are figuring out how these various assets should be valued, the things that we're looking at are supply and demand. How many people want this? Do we have a large pool of buyers who are going to bid against each other, or is this kind of hard to offload? We're also going to look at cash flow potential. Is this something that is going to bring in a steady return of money over time, or something like, a business which has a lot of instability potentially, where we could say, is this going to be a asset that maintains its value, or is there a lot of risk in there? So those are the things that you're looking at with hard to value assets. But are you doing the looking? There are experts for that. So the different types of things that you might be looking at collectibles. You might be looking at real estate. You can get appraisals, but it could be specialty real estate with timber rights, something like that. Closely held businesses, aka family-owned businesses. Life insurance trusts are another thing. That is a very specific commodity. There's a very specific, rather small market for companies that will actually buy those. They can be bought and sold, and they do have, specialty values. When are you trying to figure this out is sort of another piece of this puzzle, because you may be trying to figure it out ahead of time, sort of plan ahead. Are we going to be dealing with any tax issues? Or on the back end, after someone has passed away, are we in fact dealing with any tax issues? How much was this estate worth? So we might be doing it, essentially for IRS purposes. We also might be doing it to make sure that beneficiaries are getting even shares. We say, 50-50 to each of my kids. Okay, how do we know who should get what and what is in fact an even distribution? In those situations, it really is good to have a professional do an evaluation of the item if possible. Certainly there are things that aren't worth it. Hard to value items that are of obviously low value, this might not apply to. But when you're dealing with the IRS or potentially beneficiaries who wonder, whether they got what they were entitled to, it is always good to be able to show that you did your homework and hired someone who regularly handles this type of asset to tell you how much it was worth. Please give me a call if this is something that you're concerned about in your estate or your parents' estate. Thanks.